Yes, please, Chancellor.
I want to thank our CFO because I think she's very eloquently talked about what the challenges are. And Tom, you're right on the money. So let me just be transparent and unvarnished. Look, if we get the cuts that the governor is talking about, game over. We are in complete remote learning mode. We will not open. There is no way we can afford to reopen if we get a 20% cut in our budget. Now, some folks have spoken this evening, and I very, very respectfully have listened to folks talk about the 30-day supply. It's 30 days every day. Every day that we are in session, we will have a 30-day supply to make sure that we never are without the PPE, the disinfectant that we need every day. That has to come from somewhere. So we are already going through a process of identifying what are we going to stop doing. We are literally robbing Peter to pay Paul right now as we talk about this in the DOE. So we will not sacrifice the health and safety of our students and our staff because of budget. But if there's a 20% cut, let me just tell you right now, we are going 100% remote. We cannot open up our schools. Now, that being said, it's also really important, there's a solution to this. The state can allow us to borrow and do long-term borrowing, which happened after 9/11. That will help us not do layoffs. That will help us bridge our budget gap. We will be very explicit about how we're going to use those resources to help us open our schools and make sure that they're safe. So for all of our elected officials that came and spoke tonight, thank you. We appreciate your support. Lobby Albany to allow us to do that spending. Now, here's the other thing. I heard so many times tonight, and I am just so heartened by our students who are so articulate. I mean, God bless them. That's what we want. We want articulate students. But here's the thing. Let me be really honest with you. If I say tomorrow, we're going to take 2 weeks. We're going to delay the start of in-person learning for 2 weeks. We're going to socialize with our teachers. We're going to make sure we have everything in place. That sounds like really good practice. But is the state going to allow us to take those 2 weeks and not ding us and take away our funding because we haven't done the 180 days of learning? So this is it's not a matter of funding, but it is a matter of funding. And I have to be fiscally responsible to the taxpayers of New York City. And that fiscal responsibility means that if we take 2 weeks to socialize, to professionally develop, to do the things that we need to do to have everybody feel good about this, that's all great. But I want every one of our senators, every one of our assembly members, every one of our city council members that have spoken tonight to join me in saying, do not defund New York City's public schools by the commensurate amount of funding because you've taken the time to open up schools and give everybody the time to do it right. Because that is a real possibility. And until, look, as a fiscally responsible administrator, until I have in writing an assurance that that will not be taken against us, I can't make that decision. Because then I'm going to put our students and our school system in a position that is going to be hundreds of millions of dollars in cuts. I just can't do it. So, number one, absent the federal stimulus package, we need borrowing authority in Albany. Mm-hmm. I just don't understand why that's not just a done deal. Number one. Number two, we also need to have the ability to be able to take some time at the beginning of the school year without having that held against us to be able to do the kind of orientation that we all agree we need to do to be able to start our school year in a remote learning mode and a blended learning mode. And number three, look, people are going to shoot holes into our survey and they're going to say, well, you shoulda, you coulda, you woulda, whatever. 85% of our families have said, we're going to send our kids to school. So absent definitive information, I'm going to plan for 85% of our students being in remote learning, blended learning. They're going to be in school for part of the year or part of the week, and they're going to be in remote learning the other part of the week. Now, if somebody's got a better idea, somebody's got a better plan, not just an idea, but a plan with metrics, with real data, I'm all ears. Until then, you know what? We're going to plan for what we know. So that's really the state of where we are in New York City. And I will tell you this, as I talk to my colleagues, the 9 other colleagues that are in charge of the 9 other large school systems in America, I talk to them every week. Nobody is in a position like we are in New York City to even consider remote learning and blended learning, because we've done our job. We've actually done the work to lower the community spread. And that's not just me. I'm not a physician. That's our medical physicians that have told us, you can do this and you can do it right. Just do it very thoughtfully. And that's what we want our community to be part of the conversation with us. So I've gone all over the place. Madam Chair, thank you for giving me the ability to say this, but that's where we are, and funding is important. And so let's work together to get the funding that we need to make sure we do it right.
No, thank you, Chancellor. I appreciate you